welcome to your March 2025 prediction. I can't believe we're already in March. A big thank you to my spiritual team and your spiritual team for the messages we're about to receive. We're going to take all upright cards, and I will say if you hear any background noise, I do apologize, but hopefully it's not too distracting if you do. So let's find out March 2025. What's most important for you to know? What can you expect? We'll start off with 6 cards upright here, and I'm using the Caticorn Tarot deck today. I got this deck for Christmas, and I have been obsessed with it. I think it's going to be a new favorite. We have 2 of Swords, the Hermit, Knight of Swords. Let's see. 10 of Wands, the Magician, got the 4 of Cups, but it's coming out with Justice. And I do think this is sorry, I got tripped up on my words there. I do think this is significant that this card was flipped over, but this one wasn't, and they came out as a pair, because the 4 of Cups, you can see here how it's depicted, talks about a blessing or an offering or an opportunity that we're not seeing because we're so stuck with what hasn't worked out or what we don't want. You know, we're sort of focused on what isn't working in a situation or what we're dissatisfied with. And it can talk about boredom and apathy too, but we can't see the good stuff that's coming in, you know? This is really kind of missing your own blessing. So this would be the blessing that you're not seeing, right? Justice. You getting what you deserve. Maybe an important truth being revealed. We'll see though. We'll get more into this energy here. And your bottom of the deck is the Wheel of Fortune. So I do think by the time you get to the end of March, you really will feel like you closed out a difficult cycle. New beginnings are on the horizon. There's positive movement forward. You're not stuck anymore, because I think coming into March, you do feel quite stuck. You do feel like life is almost kind of working against you, sort of feeling like you're backed into a corner and you don't know what to do. You know, there's this feeling of exhaustion, a lot of soul searching, a lot of self-reflection. And I think your thoughts moving so fast that you can't quite keep up. You know, it's like I can't really get clear about something and how I should move forward. I just know I have to keep going. And so I think what this looks like in your day-to-day is that you're rushing around, your head is very clouded, and you're kind of just trying to survive and get through it as best as you can. And it doesn't really leave a lot of time for you to sort through that sort of chaotic mental energy, because I think your mind's just racing with this Knight of Swords. You know, your thoughts are just moving faster than you can really keep up with. It's like you're trying to get one task done and you're sitting there thinking of the next 5 things that you need to do. And it's just like you're carrying this heavy burden with this 10 of Wands that no one should have to carry, but guess what? You're almost there. You know, it's the 10, it's the number of completion. You're almost there. And so what you've been going through, what you've been dealing with is not in vain. And you will make with this 2 of Swords, if you feel like you're at a crossroads moment, if there's a decision, you know, should I stay or should I go? Should I say yes or should I say no? Like if there's been any sort of crossroads moment in your life, you know, some sort of decision you've been struggling with, you've been putting it off, you don't know what to do, you just know things can't keep going this way. You are getting clarity this month. You are figuring out what's going to be best for you so you can get what you deserve. The truth about a situation is being revealed to you. If there's been something kind of hidden from you that's contributed to you feeling stuck and stagnant, that's going to be revealed to you. And I think with the Magician here, you're manifesting the help that you've needed. Because there's something to this Ten of Wands where you're not getting the help that you need. You're not getting the support that you need, the assistance that you need. And I'm even noticing like the little mice here, you know, looking at this cat struggling to carry all of these wands up this ladder. It's like your spiritual team has been paying attention. They are aware of what you've been going through. But it's just a tough cycle, and thankfully you're almost through it. And thankfully a blessing is going to come from all of this, right? Like your efforts have not been in vain. So you're going to start to feel a lot luckier for sure. And for a lot of you with wealth coming out here, this is in relation to career, finances, maybe trying to figure out whether you should relocate. Or maybe you've been applying to jobs or trying to get a promotion and you just feel like you've been unlucky. So this would be that changing for you. Like maybe you don't see that you are going to get that promotion. Or maybe you don't get the promotion, but you get a job offer with another employer that's even better than the promotion you were trying to get, right? But there's something there in relation to money, or something that you've been wanting to do that requires money, right? So improvement in finances, career, or if you're a student, improvement in your education, because that relates to your career path, right? Yeah, star, guaranteed success. It's not like you haven't been putting in the work, right? And even like the little star here and the lantern on the Hermit card, it's like you've been pushing forward, walking through, you know, a thunderstorm essentially, right? This rocky path that you've been following here. And you've been walking in faith, like just trusting and hoping and praying that all your hard work is going to pay off. We see with the Magician that it is. And that's the thing, is that, you know, in your reality, it feels like you've been doing all of this work on your own without much support, right? Like we talked about that with the cat struggling to carry all of these wands. It has felt like that. But I do think part of what you haven't been seeing is that behind the scenes, your spiritual team has been preparing for a blessing to come to you, for a wish to come true, because you have been putting in the work. And it's not just the physical labor, right? It's that you've been guided by your intuition, you've kept up your faith, you've kept hope alive. I think with the Knight of Swords too, like you have been speaking positive affirmations, or at least trying to, right? Like you don't have to be perfect to manifest. I know a lot of law of attraction, like content creators, can make people feel overwhelmed. But I mean, we manifest all the time without it even being intentional, right? It doesn't have to be perfect to work. Like you're a human being, you know? We're not capable of perfection anyway. But this wish is going to come true for you. And it may be something as well where you weren't exactly sure what to wish for. You just knew that you needed relief from the situation. And your spiritual team is going to grant you a blessing that is going to give you that relief. Because sometimes we just know something can't continue, like it's not sustainable, it's not good for our mental health, it's not good for our physical health, our spiritual health. You know, something sometimes just doesn't resonate with us, but we don't know exactly what we want in place of it or what the solution would be. So that's okay too. You know, your spiritual team is just recognizing that you need help, and they know the best possible solution because they have that higher perspective, right? Also, sorry, my voice is very hoarse today. So if I sound a little funny, that would be why. A stubborn, aggressive person, the Ram. I'm actually getting less of the aggression from this card and more so the stubborn quality, because I don't think that's necessarily always a bad thing, because I'm really thinking of someone just being very persistent. You know, the Aries energy, like I am going to start out on this, and I'm going to persist and keep going no matter how hard it gets. I'm going to keep going. And it's that desire to win, right? To come out on top. But it doesn't feel like you're competing necessarily with anyone else, but just wanting to accomplish something for yourself. Let's see. 4-leaf clover. So this ties back into the Wheel of Fortune here. Great good fortune is coming to you. Luck is on your side. 100%, like the wheel is turning in your favor here. And we have dealings or a relationship with a man with blonde, gray, or white hair. So who this fair man is may vary for a lot of you, but I did get that message sort of your spiritual team sending in helpful people, right? Sending you in some help. So it could be that a fair man maybe gives you a good piece of advice, or maybe you interview with a fair man, right? Like maybe that's the employer that you're interested in, and hoping they hire you, and that happens to be like your new supervisor, the person who's going to offer you the job, something like that. Or if you're hoping to relocate and you applied for an apartment and then you end up getting it, maybe the fair man like works in the leasing office. So there could be different possibilities for that. Wedge, someone is trying to come between you and a friend or something that you want. And this right here, I think is related to this Justice card, because we have on this card here the two little mice kind of dueling it out. So don't worry about that. That could be this fair man here who's like trying to drive a wedge between you and what you want. Like if you are up for a job promotion and it's between you and maybe this fair man, they would be the wedge, right? The person between you and getting what you want. But justice is going to be served in this situation. So don't worry about this wedge card here, because I think this may be part of what you're not seeing, is that whoever is trying to come between you and what you want, they don't deserve it. You do. This is your wish. This is your manifestation. Luck is on your side, right? Like your good karma is bringing this in, and it's meant for you, and what's meant for you will always be for you, right? So don't stress over that. And we have Quill, get back to basics. I do think this is always good advice, especially when you're overwhelmed, especially when you've been just really kind of running on empty. And even the Four of Cups is making me think of someone not having any sort of time for self-care. And so then they have that like empty cup and they have nothing left to give to anyone else because they're just drained and depleted. And so I think this is encouraging you to slow down a bit where you can, where it's feasible, and do some self-care, do some like little things to make you feel better. And they can be very small. You know, if you're super busy and it's just you intentionally making a really nice cup of coffee for yourself in the morning, then that's your self-care for the day. Okay? If it's taking like a few deep breaths in the shower, then that is your self-care for the day. Fit it in where you can, really, like, and it may be very small, but just get back to basics with it. Because I do think that if we're talking about you trying to achieve something really big and working really hard and being in this tough cycle, a lot of times when we have our eyes on the prize like that, especially with that ram energy, what falls to the bottom of the list? Oftentimes like basic self-care, because we're just trying to get through what we have to get through. And then so maybe we don't get enough sleep at night. Maybe we don't eat, you know, the most nutritious food. We want something fast and easy and quick because we're in a rush. That sort of thing. So just get back to basics in that way. You know, take good care of yourself because rest is productive. And I feel like ridiculous saying a message like that, given the kind of chapter I'm in, and like in my own personal life. I even had to tell my job, because I'm working full-time from home with my baby, and it's on me, because I refuse to send him to daycare. I'm attached. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Like, I would miss my little buddy too much. And so it's been a struggle. I mean, you guys have even seen like how little I've been uploading on YouTube. Now, I've been busy with Etsy and Patreon, but YouTube's been neglected, right? And I don't like that. I don't like not uploading. And so I finally just had to say, okay, somewhere I've got to compromise. So, don't take it offensively that like the Ram card came out for you, because I've been in this energy myself. I've been very stubborn and trying to do too much, and then sitting there wondering why I'm snippy and irritable and, burnt out. And so I finally decided I was going to go part-time. So I'm going to work part-time remotely from home instead of full-time, to give myself a little bit of more of a break here. But it is sort of that energy for you guys in March. And I'm just sharing that with you because I don't want you all to feel guilty, because I think, especially my group ones, you all typically are my group that's usually independent, that's usually ambitious, that's usually my group for my go-getters and my more type A people and my anxious people and my people who feel really guilty if they're not always productive. I've just noticed that trend with group one over the years in these general readings. And so I'm just sharing that to kind of hold space with you and to let you know it's not something to feel guilty about at all. And it's not you giving up right before you've reached your goal. It's not. I think it's self-preservation, because you are so close and you don't want to burn out when you're so close to accomplishing what you've wanted. And you're so close to this help coming in and this relief from your situation and this wish come true, this blessing, this solution to your problem. And it's a general reading, so the specifics are going to vary, but just know that relief is going to come in. And in the meantime, if you do need to take some time for rest, that's okay. Okay, this whole house of cards is not going to fall apart just because you take a little bit of time to take care of yourself and to check in with yourself, okay? All right, now that I've given that whole spiel, let's see what else we have here. I actually want to jump over to the Spirit Animal deck and see what we get. Let's see, my group ones, March 2025. We have Starfish, Intuition, listen to your soul's truth, think less and feel more. I mean, this ties right back into that Two of Swords, because that card talks about the need. Whenever you're facing a crossroads moment or you have some sort of decision or choice to make, it talks about really getting in tune with yourself, putting those swords up so no one else can give their opinion. You've protected yourself energetically. You're not taking any sort of advice from anyone else, because it's so important to connect with your own inner guidance. And so the Two of Swords calls us to connect to our intuition. And now you have that again with the Starfish. And I'm thinking of how starfish will stick to surfaces, right? Like they'll stick to glass. So don't be afraid to really just take a moment to be still, because I know you're busy, but take a moment to sit still and, as best as you can, clear your mind. And I know that's tricky for my group ones. I know that's tricky, but I think you need the quiet. I really do. Now, if you really struggle with sitting still and clearing your mind, like meditation has never worked for you, try doing something mindless, but that also will involve maybe some white noise to kind of drown out your thoughts. My favorite hack is to vacuum. I've gotten so many psychic downloads from just vacuuming because my mind kind of zones out. I'm focused on what I'm doing, but it doesn't take, a lot of brain power to vacuum, right? It's a pretty simple chore. So something like that, or maybe coloring, and then you can put on like some lo-fi music if you really struggle with silence, but that could be helpful for you. We have Leaf Cutter Ant, Army of Life, ask for help, seek support, you are not alone. And here's the thing, we did get that message of you not really having the support that you need with that 10 of Wands. And so I think for many of my group ones, you already don't like asking for help, but maybe the reason why you don't like asking for help is that when you do ask, you don't get the help that you need, or you get an attitude, or you get resistance, or you get, just someone outright refusing to help you in the way that you need, right? Sometimes there's a reason why we don't like to ask for help, right? And sometimes it's because we have difficulty trusting others because they've promised to help us and then, they didn't follow through, or they didn't do the thing properly or correctly or whatever. And so if that's the case, remember to ask for help and support from your spiritual team, because your spiritual team isn't going to let you down. There may be times where you feel let down by your spiritual team. Like if you go through a tower moment, you're like, what the heck? But that's a lot of the times, right? Like them doing things for us that's in our highest good, but our perspective is so limited, it's hard for us to see it that way, right? But they will act in what is your best interest. And we have Spider, Dreamweaver. Tune into the energetic grids around you. Where can you send your energy for healing? I think this is really calling you to tap into your own energy, check in with yourself. How much of other people's affairs and issues affecting you? How is your social environment affecting you, right? Like the people you're around at work or school or in your family or in your friend group, your neighbors, society at large, like with social media and the news being so accessible, you could be affected at what's going on all the way across the world, right? Like that could be really depressing you if you read a sad news story. And I'm not saying don't be informed, but just be aware of how these things are affecting you. You could be affected by seeing reels posted on Instagram of influencers making you feel bad because your life doesn't look like the curated image of theirs, right? Because we forget sometimes that that's not real. And so I think just be aware of that. Check in with yourself. And how can you protect your energy? How can you cleanse your energy? How can you come back and sort of reset yourself? Because I do think you already have so much weighing on you as it is. You really have no space to take on all of this energy from everyone else, right? Just not at this time in your life. And it is a time for you to sort of be in that Aries energy and be selfish. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with focusing on yourself, especially when you're trying to grow, when you're trying to work on your self-development. With you being in the Hermit energy, and that also goes back to protecting your energy, right? But with you being in the Hermit card energy here, you are growing and ascending spiritually. That takes a lot of work, takes a lot of emotional and mental effort to do that. And so when you come out of this cycle, 100%. You're going to feel amazing. You'll be able to give to other people and not feel depleted. You won't feel burnt out anymore. You'll feel completely refreshed. But for right now, yeah, be selfish. Take care of yourself. And when you do that, then you can be a better person for others in your life in the future. But for right now, the focus should be on you. Yeah, Capricorn. Capricorn is all about ambition. That's even the first word here. And following those steps with the Ten of Wands, like you've been slowly climbing that ladder. And you've had to be patient. This has been a long time coming. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, Father Time. Like you've been put through the ringer. I feel like your spiritual team wants to acknowledge that. You know, it's like with the heart here and the little skeleton bones, it's almost like some of you feel half dead. You know, it's like, I feel like I've been waiting forever for this tough chapter to end, and I've almost sort of felt like maybe this is just life, you know, maybe life is always this hard. But that's not the case. Aquarius also has a connection to Saturn as well, not just Uranus. So there's almost like double Saturn energy here. But while you've been doing the work behind the scenes, your spiritual team has really been pouring a lot of love towards you energetically, and there is going to be a change. You know, Aquarius brings revolution. So there is going to be a progression here, movement in a positive direction. Yeah, fire. Like inspiration is coming back into your life. You're going to leave March feeling more confident, feeling more optimistic about your future. Feeling like you can really take on anything, because this has really built up your self-confidence. Like when you achieve what you've set out to do, when this wish, this manifestation comes to fruition, you're going to feel like you're on top of the world. You really are. We have the first house here. I think you're going to feel both like you've reclaimed a part of yourself that you felt like was lost, but also like this, there is a sort of new and improved version of you. And I think that's really beautiful. It's like you're taking from your past self what you loved the most, that you felt like life sort of beat out your spark a bit. It's like you're reclaiming that spark, but then also you're emerging from March totally transformed and just feeling like you can do anything and feeling like you're on top of the world, especially with that Wheel of Fortune, feeling like you're on top of the wheel instead of being crushed by it. And that's a big change. A massive change, actually. So that's really wonderful. All right, so to wrap up your reading, we're going to get you a Witch Cat card, some Spark Grace Matchsticks, as well as an Alchemy of Spirit card. And these are just sort of bonus messages. They may resonate, or kind of tie back in. That's a better way of putting it. They may tie back into your reading. They might not. They may just be something else Spirit wanted to say to you. I kind of like to just leave this open. That way, if your spiritual team has any sort of special message they need to get to you, they can. Let's see, I'm feeling drawn to this card. I'm so happy I was finally able to get the Witch Cats deck, because I use the Spirit Cat cards like so much on this channel. It's really one of my favorite decks, and so to get this one, I'm super excited. We have the bow. Okay, and I do like the actual guidebook for this one. It's really good. So let's go ahead and see what the guidebook has to say. 54. Sign of readiness and protection. The universe is eagerly waiting to answer your prayer. Well, that definitely ties back into your reading, right? Like the Magician, the Four of Cups with the Justice card, 100%. Like your bottom of the deck being the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, while honoring your past, that goes back to how I said you would reclaim a part of yourself that you felt like life had kind of beat out of you. I'm sorry, this is just tying in beautifully, actually. Okay. While honoring your past, you are ready to transcend into a higher consciousness rooted in love. You no longer need to hide or run as if you were the prey. You now hold the bow and arrow in your hands, which means that you have the tools you need to step into a new chapter of your life. You are ready and you are safe. Release the tension in your body, unclench your jaw, lower your shoulders and soften your forehead. Stand in the pose of an archer. Close your eyes and imagine all your dreams and wishes held at the point of a burning arrow. Hold your breath for a second, set your intention wholeheartedly, and then release the arrow into the universe. You are sending a prayer into the stars with an open and humble heart. You need to trust that the universe is kind and loving and that it will be heard. I was going to say the bow and arrow makes me think of the archer and Sagittarius energy, which is ruled by Jupiter, and that's the planet of abundance and is sort of the exact opposite, really, of Saturn energy. Like Jupiter is like, here's all the blessings, here's all the luck, here's all the abundance, and Saturn is like very slow, hard work, very slow progress, like, very strict, disciplinarian, and Jupiter is like party, good time. And so I feel like you're going from this like Saturn difficult, energy, and then moving into that fire sign energy with Sagittarius and Jupiter. So I think that's really beautiful for you, and a nice change of pace for sure. Okay, that was wonderful. Let's get your Witch Cat card now. We have Space Clearing. Meet Belle. She loves to sweep away stagnation, scrub her floors with a spell-infused herbal wash, and lovingly clean the threshold to invite more magic. She claps her hands in the corners of her home to get the energy flowing, and rings bells to imbue the space with love and sweetness. She mists the air with essential oils, orange to uplift, peppermint to energize, clove to cozy in, and rose to awaken bliss. Her little helpers are lush green plants and flower friends who bring life and beauty to every room. Walk around your home and feel into what your space is needing to truly come alive. I think this is really good advice for you as well, because I was very focused on, giving you sort of guidance for how to come back into your own energy, like with your body. And so I like that Spirit was like, no, there's an additional message there. Don't just focus on clearing the energy within like your physical body, but also your space, your home, where you spend the most time. So I love this. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Celebrate your good health. And maybe if you've had poor health, if that's something you've been struggling with, maybe you'll see some improvements there, but only take it if it resonates. And it could be something small, like you start sleeping better, or if you've had a lot of headaches, maybe those go away, that sort of thing. But I do feel like our health is something we tend to take for granted. I know that I do. Like that was very clear to me, like during postpartum recovery after I gave birth, and really like all through my pregnancy, I'm like, man, I really took for granted how I felt when I was just, little old me before I went through this whole experience. And I was like, man, now I know what it feels like to be in pain and like discomfort and like, I don't know, like I already had compassion for anyone who lives with like a chronic condition, or illness or anything like that. but it really just put it into perspective, like, man, I have taken my health for granted here. Anyway, make a list of all the possessions that bring you joy. That's another thing to really sort of help you feel grateful for what you have, right? Because sometimes we can feel that way too, like, man, I wish I had enough money to buy this and this and this, that we forget, you know, all of the nice things we already have. Hang pictures of loved ones in your space. And that's okay too if it ends up just being your pets. That's fine too. You know, if you don't feel like you have a good support system with family and friends, because I did pick up on that just for some of you. I mean, that's not going to be for all of you. All right, that concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer, donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Welcome to your reading. A big thank you to my spiritual team and your spiritual team for the messages that we're about to receive. We're going to take all upright cards today, and this is your March 2025 prediction. I'm using the Paws Tarot deck. I will say a quick apology for two things. One, if you hear any background noise, hopefully it's not too distracting. And then also, my voice is pretty hoarse today, so just bear with me. All right, group 2. I love these monthly prediction videos. Let's see. Now, sometimes with this deck, the shuffling does take a while because I'm still breaking it in. So if it takes a really long time, I may cut out a little bit of it. You see like a weird jump cut, just for the sake of time. We have Strength, the Hanged Man, and the 8 of Cups. 10 of Cups, I love this for you. This is nice. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Emperor, 4 of Wands, and your bottom of the deck, Queen of Swords. Oh, you are in your power, okay? You are in your power in March. I love this. I can't say that enough. I can't stress that enough. I love this because I feel like you've really been in some sort of situation, and the details, the circumstances will vary given that this is a general reading. But what makes group two is that you all have been dealing with something that just hasn't been cutting it. And you know it. You know that it's not what you truly want. You know it's not what you deserve. You know that in your heart of hearts, you could do better and that you should have better. But it's one of those things where for a while with the Strength card, maybe you just tried to make the best of it, you know? Like you really just tried to do whatever you could. If this is a relationship or a friendship, maybe you tried to appease the person, play to their ego, like the way this cat is stroking this lion and kind of fluffing up its mane. You know, maybe you really, really tried. And you're fed up with it because you're the only one trying and the other person isn't making the effort. You know, or maybe this is a work situation and you had to play nice with a boss who was a really big micromanager, you know, or was just really overbearing. And you know how there's sometimes certain managers or supervisors where they really only like you if you play to their ego. They don't really care about your actual like competency at your job. And so it could be a situation like that too, right? Like I said, details might vary. I could keep guessing, but just apply it to your life how it resonates, because it'll be different for each of you. But it's some sort of situation like that where you really did try. Like with Strength here, it took a lot of effort. It took a lot of you probably biting your tongue, right? Not saying how you really felt. And it could have been something too that provoked some insecurity within you and made you feel lesser than yourself, made you feel like you were maybe losing a part of yourself, like if you stayed in it. And so with the Hanged Man here, you got really fed up because the Hanged Man in the major arcana comes just before the Death card. And so that's a bit morbid, but like this cat is waiting for death to come. And so the idea is in the moments before death, we have that hindsight that we didn't have before. Hindsight is 20/20, right? We see things clearly. That idea of like your life flashing before your eyes, and you have this greater perspective, seeing it all back than you did in the moment, right? And that's sometimes why we have to give past versions of ourselves grace, because we were only doing the best that we could with the knowledge that we had at that time, right? And so now you do see things clearly. You've been in this situation for a while, and reflecting back on all of it, you're like, okay, it really is time to just cut ties and be decisive about it and make this decision and stand in my truth and say that this is what's best for me. And that's going to cause a big personal transformation. We see this Queen of Swords, this cat, she has these butterfly wings and this butterfly crown. So it's that transformation. And so you're walking away from something. You're choosing to end something. You're choosing to cut something out of your life. Again, whether it's a person, place, situation, circumstance, you're ending it. And what is so beautiful to me about this is that after you walk away, it's not like you have to wait that long before you get to your 10 of Cups, which is so beautiful. Like, that is so nice. I love that for you. It's not even the 9, which would be a wish come true. Like, it's the 10. It's the completion. It's like, this is as good as it gets emotionally. You know, this is really, really content. I remember, and this was many years ago because she still went by Stargirl the Practical Witch, which is not like her current YouTube name. But I remember she might have been like the first tarot reader I ever saw on YouTube, actually. It was either her or the Gem Goddess. I think it was her, though. But I remember she had this reading, and this was years ago, like I said, where she talked about the Ten of Cups almost being boring to her because there's nothing going on. It's like everything is well, everything is perfect. And I just thought, it's so funny how different people can be, because for me, this is bliss, right? Like, how nice to just be able to sit back and enjoy the view. And I think, some people are like that. Some people want to keep pushing forward and say, what's next? And other people just want to kind of be in this space where, sorry, I got interrupted there for a moment, but this is all of your needs met across all areas of your life. Like, things are going well. They may not be perfect, but you are content and happy. And I say all areas of your life because that's what the rainbow always makes me think of. Like, yes, this symbolizes like joy and like happiness, and especially after a difficult time, if you think of a rainbow after a storm. But I just think of the different colors sort of representing different areas of your life, or even the different chakras in your body, like really feeling aligned, feeling happy, content, like we said. But you have also the support around you. Like you have a happy home life, a happy family life, whatever that family looks like to you, right? And so this is you finding that space where you belong, feeling at home in your own life, feeling at home in a situation, and feeling like your life resonates with you. Because before, you were stuck in something that didn't resonate, that didn't feel right, that felt like you were settling in some capacity. And, we have to honor the bittersweet nature to the Eight of Cups, because there may have been something about that situation that you did like, but it wasn't quite right. It was just good enough. And in life, we shouldn't be settling for just good enough. And even if you notice the little backpack here on the kitty with the crown, this is really you like kind of putting on your Queen of Swords energy here. Stepping into that role of the Queen of Swords. And your gender doesn't matter. But this is you really being decisive. And saying, I have clarity on this situation. I know how I need to move forward. And I need to take back control of my life. I need to be in charge. And I know this is not good enough. I may miss it in some ways, but it's not good enough. I deserve better. And how quickly you're going to find it. How quickly you're going to find it. And I don't think you're maybe necessarily fully getting to the Ten of Cups. Maybe not across every aspect of your life, but in the area that this pertains to, 100% you are, if that makes sense. So if I was talking about your love life or a friendship or a work situation, right? You getting to the Ten of Cups in that area. And with the Emperor here, again, like you feeling like you're in charge, you feeling like you're calling the shots now. And you're going to feel so liberated. You're going to feel so liberated. And with the Four of Wands, again, like you feeling at home in a situation. You feeling like you have set yourself up for stable, long-lasting happiness. And that's something to celebrate. You're going to have something to celebrate in March. And for some of you, the Four of Wands and the Emperor next to each other and the Ten of Cups. Like if you were stuck in a really bad relationship, like a bad romantic situation, a situationship, or you felt like you were repeating the same cycle over and over again in your love life, this could be you calling in like your future spouse, right? Four of Wands, the Emperor, Ten of Cups. This is like the wedding card. But I also feel like for some of you, This is you finding a perfect marriage in some aspect of your life. This could be career related too. Okay, let's see what else we have going on for my group twos. And like I said, I know all of you individually have different situations going on, so just apply it how it resonates. Since I've started doing personal readings over on Etsy, it's just such a different experience, like channeling for one person versus a general reading. I do really love the personal readings because I am able to get specific, because I think sometimes in general readings I want to go there, but then I have to pull back and remind myself there's only so detailed you can get because there are so many of you watching and you all have like different unique situations going on. Because it's almost like, for me, like from my perspective, I'm trying to uncover sort of like, I don't know, a mystery to a story, and I've only been given certain pieces, and I'm trying to get the full picture, but I mean, you can't. You can only get so close in a general reading. Which is wild too, and a testament to how good a reader can be in a general reading, especially, or even like to give credit to y'all's like spiritual team and how they convey messages. Because I know for me, I've gotten general readings that have felt like personal readings. I'm saying all this to say, like, just the power of tarot is really cool. Okay. I don't think I'll ever get tired of doing tarot readings. Let's see what we have. Key successful outcome to your problems. I feel like you're getting that major key with the Hanged Man, that epiphany moment. A meeting with a stranger could be important. Handshake. Bouquet. I almost said bouquet. I do know how to read bouquet. Compliments from an admirer. It's been a long day. We have Skull, hidden secrets can harm you. Scales, keep your life in balance. And we have Parrot, someone will gossip about all your secrets. Okay. Several things going on here. I'm going to go through everything that I'm seeing. I think there could be specific messages in here for like each of you as individuals. So definitely if your intuition calls to a certain card, really focus in on that, because there could be additional messages. And just remember, certain things may not apply to your specific situation. Okay. I do think for some of you, with hidden secrets can harm you, and someone will gossip about all of your secrets, these two cards are very much connected here. I think you may have sort of had this plan, this idea of how you were going to walk away from something. And it could be that you told your plan to someone and they talked about it, and that kind of forced you to change the timing of it, or when you were going to act, or how you were going to act, and you trusted the wrong person. This could also refer to if you keep how you feel bottled in and you don't advocate for yourself, you don't stand up for yourself, it's not going to stop people from still making their own assumptions. Because I feel like you could get into a conflict with someone and maybe you think to yourself, it's not worth it to respond. It's not worth it to reply. That's not worth my energy. And, if I give it attention, then people are going to talk more. And I feel like your spiritual team is kind of saying with this Parrot card, people are going to talk regardless. People are going to talk all day about something that they really don't know anything about and speak with authority as if they do. You know, like people are going to say what they have to say anyway. And for your mental health and your emotional health, if it's going to make you feel better to get it off your chest and to stand up for yourself, sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you do have to fight back. So just use your own discernment there, okay? But I do think it's advising you that sometimes holding all of that in can cause you harm. So if you just need to stand up for yourself, if you just need to speak your truth in a situation, and with the Queen of Swords, you can be cutting with your words. Like, I would not want to be in an argument with you. But you mean what you say and you speak with truth, right? You speak with truth. And so I do feel like if you need to say it, just say it. And who cares what people are going to say about it, because they're going to talk anyway. With scales here, I feel like this is confirming you really getting in your head, I deserve better. And I'm giving more to this situation than I'm getting back. And I can't keep giving like I'm giving, because I'm going to end up losing. And I deserve better than this. For some of you, if this is dealing with your love life, this could, like handshake and the, Lord, I almost did it again, the bouquet card. These two here could be signifying like you have a new love interest coming in. Someone has a crush on you. Someone's gonna compliment you, flirt with you. Could be that Emperor. And this is, like I said, definitely like boss energy. Someone who's quite mature, someone who knows what they want. Now with Key here, again, successful outcome to your problem. I think this is you figuring out the solution, what you need to do to move forward, whereas before you felt stuck. So you're getting that epiphany moment. Okay, this is what I need to do. So everything's going to work out. People may talk about it. You know, people may have their opinions, but who cares? They're going to talk anyway. And if they have time to comment on your life and your choices, then they probably don't have much going on in their life anyway. All right, we're going to take our spirit animal deck now and see what else we get for your March 2025. What can you expect? What do you need to know? 3 cards, please, Spirit. We have Tiger, Divine Timing. Good things come to those who wait. That's exciting. We have Panther. You have a lot of big cat energy. Because your reading started off with the Strength card, which is Leo too, the lion. So we've got lion, tiger, and panther. I love that for you because cats are my favorite. We have protection. Consider who you allow to take your energy and who you give it away to freely. And Fox. Shadow work. There are no shadows without light. I wonder if this card ties back into hidden secrets can harm you. Because maybe you've been telling yourself this narrative over and over again of like, oh, it'll get better. Or maybe even just blaming yourself for the situation. Like, well, like if this is a relationship with someone, maybe you kind of gaslight yourself a little bit and say like, well, you know, maybe I should have approached them differently, or, you know, maybe I triggered them, or kind of like taking ownership or taking responsibility for someone else's bad behavior when you really did nothing wrong. That's just who that person is. And so it could be something like that, where you finally have to see the truth, the truth of the situation, and say like, no, I do deserve better. I can't keep telling myself this narrative that supports me staying in something that's less than what I deserve, that's not healthy for me, that's not good for me, that is depleting me. Because that's the thing too, like when we're in a situation, whether it's a relationship or a job or, we don't like where we live or whatever the case is, when we're in something like that, day in and day out, we're dealing with it, it will bring out a side to yourself that you don't quite recognize, that you don't like very much, because you're kind of in survival mode. And it just brings out your own shadows, right? It brings out the worst in you. And it makes me think of this Panther card as well. Like, who has access to your energy? Because some people will bring out the best in you, and some people will bring out the worst in you. Like, if you're around a negative person all the time, you might start to become negative, right? You might start to take that on. If you're around an angry person all the time, what are you doing? Walking on eggshells, trying not to offend them, trying not to irritate them, making yourself as agreeable as possible, becoming a shadow of yourself. If you're around someone who's really highly insecure and very anxious, then you spend all your time trying to build them up and maybe dulling your own shine because you don't want them to feel bad about themselves. And I'm not saying, and your cards aren't saying, cut off anyone here who isn't the I don't know, like the happiest, don't cut off your friend because they're going through a bout of depression or something. But just be mindful, of how certain people around you are affecting you, especially as it pertains to that 8 of Cups situation that we were talking about. So just be mindful. Now, with this divine timing here, good things come to those who wait. I do feel like that's going back to the Hanged Man. Like, I feel like you've really been wanting some sort of guidance here on how to deal with this 8 of Cups situation. Like, this can't go on, but you don't really know what to do about it. And so I feel like this is talking about that divine timing. Like, you're going to get this successful outcome to your problem. You're going to get the key on how to solve this. Just be patient, because you're going to get that key exactly when you're meant to. 9th house, spiritual growth. And that is Sagittarius energy as well as Jupiter energy. The 7th house, so now we have personal relationships, Libra energy. And Cardinal. This is taking action. That spark of inspiration, that's also like the Hanged Man. So you're going to get that epiphany moment that's going to tell you what you need to do, how you need to leave behind the situation, the step that you should take. And with the 7th house, this could be related to a personal relationship in your life that hasn't been working out. This also could tie into new people coming into your life as well. But I think it's going to be related to what you're leaving behind. So if you're leaving behind a romantic partner, this would be new love coming in. If you're leaving behind a toxic friendship, this would be like a new best friend. If you're leaving behind an unhealthy work environment where you had a really terrible boss, this would be a new job opportunity where maybe you get to be the boss yourself. Maybe you get to be financially independent and work for yourself. Or maybe you get to work somewhere where you get to be the boss. Or where you at least like your boss and work well with them, right? And with the 9th house here, I do feel like this is causing you to spiritually grow, because I don't think you're going through a necessarily like a spiritual transformation in March, but I think you're headed towards one. because the Hanged Man, like I said, comes before death in the tarot. I think you're headed for a major transformation, but I think you're going to transform as you connect with this new energy of the 7th house, like whatever that's bringing in into your life. I feel like the new people that are coming in are going to teach you a lot about yourself. They're going to act as mirrors, but in a good way, because this is positive people coming in, okay? Let's go ahead and get your wrap-up messages now. We're going to get you a Witch Cat card, as well as an Alchemy of Spirit card, and a few Spark Grace matchsticks as well. Now, these messages may be related to your reading, or they may just be something else entirely that your spiritual team wants to let you know. So we'll just see what we get. Group 2, the Witch Cat card they need to hear the most right now. For my group 2s, please, Spirit. 1 card, please, Spirit. You have the Cast a Spell card. And I will read the guidebook for this deck because I think it's just so good. We have the Heart, card 44. And I'm going to go ahead and just intuitively pull 3 matchsticks for you. Group 2, group 2, I want this one. Here we go. All right, card number 44. Sign of passion and desire. Find what sets your soul on fire. The heart says, always remember what is essential and sacred. It is easy for the path to become clouded with other people's words and desires, so you forget what makes you feel alive. The heart on fire is a powerful sign that reminds you to look inside yourself again. Find what sets your soul on fire and what makes your heart burst into a dance and a smile when no one sees you. And align with that feeling. You are not too late and you are not too old. There is time and opportunity as long as your heart keeps beating. Explore a new hobby, a new career, a new job, a new talent, a new love, and if necessary, a new life. But please don't let your heart lose its fire. Oh, that's beautiful. So this could be talking about, honestly, multiple areas of your life as well. But I do think we have this recurring theme of you finding this truth, this moment of clarity. We saw that with the Hanged Man. We see that with the Queen of Swords, that cardinal energy, that spark. And so you can't go wrong in March if you follow what makes your heart happy, if you follow what lights kind of a fire in your gut. You know, like you can't go wrong if you follow your heart. And I think that's tough because I think a lot of times we try to think things through. You know, we worry a lot. We try to be, you know, mindful that we're making logical, rational, good decisions. And that's good. That's all fine and dandy, but we have to balance it out with the messages from our heart, our intuition. And so if you're struggling, I think as well, even beyond March, okay, if you're struggling to make a decision on something, sit with it in your body. Imagine, okay, if I choose this outcome and I pretend like this is the choice that I've made, how does that feel in your body? Do you feel anxious? Does your stomach feel upset? Do you feel tense, right? Do your shoulders hurt? Like, how do you feel? Are you relaxed? Are you rigid? Like, how do you feel in your body? And then imagine if instead you chose the opposite. You chose a different outcome. You made a different choice. Okay, how does that feel in your body? Do you feel excited? Do you have a warm, fuzzy feeling? Like, do you feel antsy? Like, how do you feel? Do you have butterflies in your stomach? So just notice how something feels in your body, because sometimes our body knows something that our mind hasn't quite gotten to yet. The body doesn't lie. Okay. Cast a spell. Meet Amethyst. This witch cat is a meaning maker, an energy channeler, a spell caster. The butterfly of transformation is whispering in her ear, intuitively guiding her to weave her most enticing and aligned dreams into the web of reality. Cocooned in your heart, what wish is longing to be born? Okay, that's tying together very nicely. Amethyst is beckoning you to be brave and curious. Cast a spell and see what happens, trusting that it will always lead to your expansion and evolution, no matter what the results are. Brew a potion of symbols, archetypes, and your incandescent desire. Take a sip, let go completely, and feel the ecstasy of creation. You could play around with spell work in March, but I think honestly, even if you didn't, right? Like even if this wasn't your cup of tea, even if this isn't your jam, think about the idea, because amethyst brings this energy of cleansing, right? Think about the idea of you sort of being in this energetic cocoon. And if you only had the beat of your heart and nothing else to listen to, like what would your heart be calling you towards? So strip away everyone else's opinions, what everyone else thinks, because that may hold you back too. You may be so concerned and worried about what other people will say or think or react, or what will they say behind your back. Don't focus on that. Really connect with your own energy, because that way you will be able to make your heart the happiest. Because if you're following the guidance, or you're so worried about what someone else is thinking, or what their advice is, or how they'll react to whatever it is that you decide to do, and then you just end up with a life that reflects what their heart, wants and thinks is good. You just end up with a life that reflects their dreams, their aspirations, their passions. And you don't want that. You want a life with the Four of Wands that feels like home to you. And that's what you deserve. Group 2 is always like my little sweetheart group. Okay. Choose optimism. Think about how you can see the glass is half full. Some of you may have been drawn to group 1. There's a little bit of overlap with group 1. Let go of old wounds and grudges. And that may be like, especially if you're letting go of someone, a person, a connection this month. That might be something that comes with time. Give your time or kindness to someone who is less fortunate than you. And this could also be, like if you have a connection to animals, this could also be, like volunteering at your local animal shelter, or feeding like your stray cats in your neighborhood or something like that. Okay. I don't know why, but I just got that message. So someone here must be a big animal lover. Okay. Group 2, I'm really excited for you. I think overall this is a very pivotal month. There's a big transition that's happening between an ending and a new beginning. There's a lot for you to process. I think there's going to be a lot of chatter about what's going on in your life. People are going to be interested, but like I said, let them talk, because at the end of the day, this is about prioritizing your happiness, right? And you are going to get there. With the 10 of Cups, you're going to get there. So just hang in. You're almost there. I didn't mean to say that, because you did get the Hanged Man. Like, just hang in there. Anyway, you're going to be okay, group 2. All right, that concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer, donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Last but not least, welcome to your reading. A big thank you to my spiritual team and your spiritual team for the messages that we're about to receive. I'll also go ahead and give 2 apologies. One, if you hear any background noise, I do apologize. Hopefully it's not too distracting if you do. And also, my voice is very hoarse today, so if I don't sound like myself, that's why. I've just been filming a lot for Etsy and Patreon. So Patreon, if you're interested in a future spouse reading, they did a good topic this month. They wanted to do first with your future spouse. So it was like first date, first time saying I love you, first meeting, first kiss. And that ended up being a 3-hour reading almost. I don't know, it was like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something like that. So I think that's the one that got me, was filming that reading. I was definitely like having a sore throat afterwards. So anyway, if you're not on Patreon, you can definitely still purchase that reading if you want to. That's a new thing Patreon's doing. So you can just purchase individual readings if you don't want to subscribe. Although it's definitely a better deal to subscribe. I wasn't sure like what to price the readings either. I'm just chatting with you guys while I shuffle here. But they won't let you put it like below $3 either. So I was like, I don't really know. But I saw someone else that I follow, and I was looking at how they priced theirs, and they were doing like $10 a reading. And I was like, I feel like that's too much money, like just for your group, right? In a general reading. So I do like $3 or $4 depending on the reading. But I think Patreon charges a little bit more than what I set the price as, so I don't know. Okay. We have 4 of Cups, 8 of Swords, King of Swords, the Star, 10 of Swords, the Sun, and then also this 3 of Wands. Your bottom of the deck, 7 of Fishes. Now, in this deck, the fishes are the pentacles. So this is your bottom of the deck card. We got an extra one, but that's okay. There's a lot going on for you. in March, group 3. This feels kind of like there's a lot of highs and lows. It's a little bit of a roller coaster of a month, but I don't want you to worry because where it's ending is beautiful, where it's ending is wonderful. So March is one of those months where you kind of just have to take it as it comes. The best guidance I could give you from your cards is really just to take it one day at a time. Just focus on getting through it. Because some days are going to be great and some days are really going to try your patience, okay? Because there's a lot of moving pieces here. And I do feel like your spiritual team has a heavy hand in how March is going to play out for you. And so I think sometimes you may not always understand why certain things are happening to you, but your spiritual team is saying, we're not trying to mess with you, right? Like, we're doing it for you, but it may not always feel good in the moment, but it does feel like there's some course correction happening. And sometimes we don't always like when that happens, right? Like sometimes we want to stay with the devil that we know because there's a weird comfort in that, right? Because we've gotten used to that energy. It may not be a great energy, but it's what we know. It's what's familiar. It's what's become home to us. And there's always that fear that we could end up in a worse circumstance. And so sometimes, we stay where we are. We stay put because the fear of the unknown and the fear of change seems, at least in the moment to us, right, worse than our current circumstances. Because we're so afraid that we're going to end up, in an even worse situation. But you are bored, and you are dissatisfied, and you are unhappy, and maybe a little bit irritated with this Four of Cups. Yeah. Because it really feels like you're just looking at certain areas of your life and feeling very dissatisfied, and you may be quite dissatisfied with yourself. You may feel like you've been contributing to it. Because when we're in that kind of funk, emotionally and mentally, are we always making the best choices for ourselves? No. No, we're not. Sometimes we're engaging in certain things to make us feel better in the moment, but we know, okay, I'm going to regret that later. Like, you could have a terrible day, go shopping, do some impulse purchases, right? Like, do some impulse buying, and then immediately get home and just feel like, why did I buy all that crap? Why did I do that? I know I'm going to need that money later. I know I said I was going to start saving more. But it felt good for the few seconds that you bought it, right? It's that temporary relief, but it doesn't last, and it further exacerbates your problems in the long term. And that's the tricky part to it. And so I feel like you're fed up with certain situations, but I think for some of you, you're fed up with your own behaviors because you've been coping in these sort of maladaptive ways to deal with what you're unhappy about in your life. So like maybe you are seeking comfort in like food, right? Like we have like the little chicken and the burger and the fries. I used to like really love soda, like way back in the day. And that was always my thing. If I had a really terrible day, I wanted a Dr. Pepper. And I hated myself for it because I know like it's so unhealthy. It's so bad for you. It's not good for your teeth either. Thankfully, I've never struggled with that, but it's not good for you though, right? And so it could be something small like that. Or it could be something bigger for some of you, but it's an unhealthy pattern. this could be like also, I'll tell you guys all my bad habits from when I was younger, but I remember I hated my job. And so I would stay up late to kind of get more me time and to sort of put off having to go to bed, because I knew when I went to bed, I would fall asleep, and then all that time would pass and I would wake up and have to go to work. And in my mind, if I put off going to sleep, I was kind of prolonging having to go to work. And it doesn't work like that because the time is passing by anyway, right? I'm just not getting adequate sleep. But it was like a weird mind trick. You know, it was like just convincing myself that if I stayed up later, then I would postpone having to go to work. But obviously, like, time doesn't work like that. So it was just a bad habit. So it could be something, you know, small or something bigger. But I think you're fed up with yourself too, because you know you haven't been coping mentally and emotionally in a healthy way. And you've just been feeling very dissatisfied. And with the Eight of Swords, like, you haven't been seeing your power in the situation. I think you've been just overly anxious, kind of confusing yourself about what you should do. And feeling very stuck, feeling very tied up. And feeling exhausted, I think, as well. Now, I will say, I think this is how you're coming into March, and I think maybe the first week and a half of March, or maybe the first 2 weeks, that's how you're going to feel, right? And it's just a matter of getting through it. I think maybe by mid-March, and the timing's going to vary, you know, it's still a general reading, but I think by mid-March, this is where you really step up. You step up for yourself in a really big way, and you say, okay, it's time to take some decisive action. It's time to make some changes. And you start to feel better. But it's your spiritual team really pushing you out of this Eight of Swords energy. You may not like how they push you, but they are going to push you. And remember, we're talking about energy here. We're not talking about gender. When we talk about masculine energy, we're talking about taking action, doing something about it. And with the swords, you're resolute. You've made up your mind. And look how stern that cat looks. Not changing. And not going to be tempted either. Like, looking ahead, eyes on the prize, not going to be tempted. So there may be something about this situation where you knew it was bad for you. You knew it wasn't healthy for you. But something about it kept you coming back. And you're not going to keep engaging in the behaviors that were helping you to cope, that were also unhealthy, that were also temptations. So like I said, you know, the examples that I gave, like shopping, overspending, eating unhealthy, or drinking sugary drinks, things like that. Staying up late, avoidance, procrastination, like those kind of behaviors that we know aren't good for us. Especially if you procrastinate a lot, right? You're just creating even more problems for yourself, and you're putting off the inevitable. Now, with the star here, this is where there's a real turning point. It's like mentally you make up your mind, and you're going to take action. And now with the star, we see that action actually happening, okay? We see it. We see the live action, okay? And so you're pouring into yourself and also pouring into your desire for change here. So you're taking better care of yourself. You're cleaning up those bad habits. Maybe you're revamping like your daily routine, or maybe you're creating a daily routine for yourself. Maybe you didn't have that structure before, but you're really making sure you're doing your self-care, eliminating those bad habits, choosing better for yourself, and cleaning up your attitude. There's a big difference between this Four of Cups and this Star card. This is you being hopeful. This is you being optimistic. You really aligning with your faith. Now, progress and change is not always linear, okay? And I've done this before in my life too, so don't feel bad about it. But it's like you start to make those changes, you've made up your mind, and then something causes you to backslide. Something brings up a lot of pain from the past, things that you thought that you had healed from, that you felt almost apathetic towards, like I don't feel anything towards that anymore. But you get triggered and it comes up again. And maybe you see something online that triggers you. Maybe you see something on social media, or someone posted something, or someone sent you a text message and, you know, it really threw you off. It brought up the past. And you see how the cat's like leaning on the cat food. So it's like, I'm going to seek comfort in something that I know it's bad for me. Like, I know I shouldn't eat all 3 cans of cat food here, but I'm going to do it because I feel bad. And I feel depressed, and I feel, I feel very blah. I don't feel well. But this doesn't last long, okay? This is just a moment. I think this energy may last a day or 2 for you. And then you get right back on track. Even if you don't fully feel great, you get right back on track. And you start making those changes again. You clean up your attitude. And with this 3 of Wands in particular, with the sharks in the water, you're like, I don't even care. I don't even care what I'm up against. I'm moving forward in my life. I'm making big changes. And I don't care who was working against me. I'm going to get it done. Now, with the 7 of Pentacles being your bottom of the deck, this is really what you're leaving behind. This is what you're leaving behind. Like patiently waiting for something that just isn't coming. You know, it's like I've put all of this effort in and the math isn't mathing, right? Like I'm putting all of this effort in and I'm getting nothing back. And so to continue to put myself through this over and over again, that's not smart. Like that's not practical. Because I think maybe a part of you stayed in this because you told yourself that was the wise decision or that was the safest option. But I think you're finally coming to this place of understanding through the month of March. Oh, no. Like I was guaranteeing my misery. I was guaranteeing my failure, my stagnancy. Sometimes you have to cut your losses. Sometimes you have to search for something better. I kind of feel like that's sort of a general theme for the collective here, because the other 2 groups had similar messages, but in very different ways. I do feel like you have this roller coaster month. But when I say roller coaster, I feel like a lot of this is happening for you internally. I feel like it's your emotions that are very up and down. Your reactions are very up and down. I think you're easily triggered. And I think it's because this situation has been weighing on you for so long. Mentally and emotionally, you haven't been in a good headspace. And that's nothing to do with you as a person, okay? I really want to stress that, because anyone, and that's why I use those personal examples, because I don't want you to feel judged. Anyone in your circumstance would be struggling with their mental health. They would be. Like emotionally, they would not be feeling super hot. or super good about themselves. It is understandable that you feel this way. It's understandable that you have tried to do what you are able to do to cope. And that's the thing too. You may have this shame around how you've been coping, but no one has a right to judge how you choose to cope with the situation that you're in unless they have lived that exact same situation themselves, which they probably haven't, right? If they haven't walked in your shoes, they have no right to judge how you try to walk in them. No space for that. We should never judge other people for how they've tried to survive, because I do think that's what this has been. We should try to refrain from judging people in general, but you know. So I just want to acknowledge that, because I think your spiritual team really wants you to give yourself grace and to be kind to yourself as best you can, especially as you move through the month of March. Because it really is going to take its toll, because you're coming out of something, like I said, that was just draining you mentally and emotionally for so long. And you will kind of almost feel like a fish out of water. Like, what do I do now? Because you got used to that discomfort. It's kind of like if you were forced to live with someone who was, this is just an example, but if you were forced to live with someone for a prolonged period of time, and they were always putting you down, always criticizing you, micromanaging you, making you feel like you can never do anything right. And then you finally got out of that situation and you were on your own. It would take some time for you to recover from what you had been through. Because while you're living with that person, you may be engaging in unhealthy behaviors to cope, right? So you might be sitting there and, like we used the shopping example, maybe you're buying yourself stuff to make you feel better, because when they put you down like that, you feel bad about yourself and you want that temporary relief. And so maybe you buy things that bring you comfort. And so also once you get out of that situation, you may find that you have developed an inner critic within you, and you may be judging yourself the same way that other person used to judge you, used to put you down, because you absorbed that narrative that you're worthless, that you're not good enough, that you're stupid, whatever the case may be. And so you have to unlearn that. You have to heal from that. You have to recover from that. So give yourself grace as you're coming out of this situation, as you're making these changes, as you're moving forward. Give yourself grace, because it's going to take time to heal from it. And you may feel triggered some days, and that's understandable. Again, anyone in your situation would feel that way. All right, let's see. And again, just to stress to you, by the end of March, you're going to be feeling happy, hopeful, and you are going to be actively making positive changes to better your life, and new opportunities are going to be coming in as you do so. We have Dragon, Gaia's Gateway, access Earth's inner wisdom. So any way that you can connect with Mother Gaia during the month of March, get outside. I think that's going to help you ground yourself, help you feel rooted, help you feel safe. I feel like that's a very big thing. Anything you can do to make yourself feel safe and secure. You may also see a lot of signs and synchronicities through nature, animals. If you have a pet, your spiritual team may even try to speak to you through your pet. And that could be like, for example, if you have a cat or a dog, they may try to like get you to slow down and rest. And so maybe they'll try to like herd you like to the couch or to your bed, or maybe they'll settle on your chest. Sometimes, like if I'm feeling very anxious, sometimes my cat Gracie, she'll lay like right on my chest, like almost close, very close to my face. Or if I have a headache, she'll like lay on top of my head. Like you may just notice they like lay on parts of your body that need like healing. Sorry, I feel like I'm tripping up on my words a lot, but it's just because my voice is hoarse. We have elephant, ground. Oh, we were just talking about grounding. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so grounding, definitely. Grounding, ground your energies and emotions deep into the earth. Okay, so very similar messages between these two cards. I was just saying that. Yeah, so anything you can do to get outside more, or if you don't really have access to green space or nature, any place outside that's safe, depending upon where you live. If you can have some plants in your home, flowers, anything to help you connect with earth energy, or you can even watch those YouTube videos where it sort of takes you on a virtual walk through through a park or a neighborhood. You can do that as well. Not exactly the same thing as going outside, but if you don't have access to a safe area to walk or any green space, that's an option, right? Okay, we have Dolphin, Atlantis, Healing Wisdom is surfacing, stop and listen. I do feel like kind of with this repeating imagery here of like fish and water, and now we have the dolphin and we have the sharks here. Anything you can do to kind of just go with the flow. And we mentioned that before. March is a month you kind of just have to ride it out. Not just with what's going on in your external environment, but with your own emotions. Because you're very up and down, and mentally you're all over the place. And you have days where you feel really motivated and disciplined and positive and optimistic and hopeful. And you have other days where you feel like you're right back in it, and you're in a funk, and you're triggered, and you're feeling down, and you're feeling apathetic. And that's kind of how it goes, right? Like when you're trying to find success, or you're trying to grow, or you're trying to make these big changes, you're gonna have days where you feel really, really committed to it, and other days where you don't feel that way. Anyone who's tried to change their diet knows that. Right? Like, I feel like that's such a good analogy for what you're going through in March. It's like at the start of the New Year's, right? Like people make resolutions and like, I'm going to get fit and healthy. And so maybe they get rid of all of their junk food and they clean up their shopping list, and they start watching like all of these videos on like Instagram and YouTube for like healthy recipes, and they say they're going to meal prep, and they have all these big ideas, and then they lose steam, you know, or they have a cheat meal, and then that cheat meal turns into a cheat week, you know, and that's how it goes. It's really, really hard. It's not easy to make big changes, especially the kind of changes you're trying to make. And it's not easy to change our habits or our thought processes. Like anyone who's tried law of attraction, you'll start to realize very quickly how many negative thoughts you have in a single day. And you're like, I had no idea I was so negative. Like, it's when we start to be mindful and we pay attention. And I feel like in March, you are going to be holding yourself accountable. But I also feel like, again, give yourself grace, because this is very common. It's very common to have these ups and downs. But you are healing. You are recovering from what you've been going through. Things are looking up. You just have to ride the wave. Love and let go. Your life is in perfect flow. Everything in your life is working out best case scenario. Say those positive affirmations to yourself, even if you don't believe them. Even if you want to roll your eyes while you're saying them, keep saying it. We have the 8th house. We have Cancer. So we've got Scorpio, we've got Cancer, lots of water sign energy. And the 1st house. Something will grow from this and it will be you. This is a rebirth. This is a transformation. And you are diving deep into a lot of things I think you've emotionally repressed. They're coming up. And I think what you want to feel is safety and security. You want to feel stable. But first you have to go through a lot of changes, because what you have right now is not making you feel safe, is not making you feel happy, is not making you feel loved. And I'm hearing a lot of fear-based decisions brought you to this place. So it's time to start making choices from a place of love and bravery and excitement instead of anxiety and fear and doubt. And I think you're going to love who you are and how you feel by the time you get to the end of March. I just think it's a bit of a process. It's not easy. It's not easy to do what you're doing, but give yourself credit, because you could have stayed in that 8 of Swords energy for the rest of your life. So give yourself credit. And you are highly protected by your spiritual team this month, highly protected. I do feel like there is something there about you stepping into and aligning with your North Node this month. So if you're not familiar with your birth chart, go take a look at what sign and house your North Node falls in, and then go study your South Node too, because that's what you're leaving behind. So that'll be the opposite sign, okay? But take a look at that, because that could give you some clarity on specifically what is happening for you in March, since this is a general reading, okay? You could also look at where you have water sign energy in your chart, and also if you have any placements in the 1st house. Now we'll get some wrap-up messages for you. This could be related to your reading or just anything your spiritual team wants you to know. We're going to get you a Witch Cat card. I was so excited that I was able to get this deck, because the Spirit Cat deck by this same creator is one of my favorites. I've used it so much. So we ended up getting 2 cards for you. I like how they have similar kind of color stories there. We'll get you an Alchemy of Spirit card as well. Oh yeah, the sun. It hurts to become. I always think of that Andrea Gibson spoken word poem. I think it's called Jellyfish, where she has that line, "It hurts to become. I asked the sun about the Big Bang. The sun said, it hurts to become." That's the line. It's so good. But that's what it is for you in March, is this act of becoming. You're becoming a better version of yourself. You're getting closer to your higher self. You're getting closer to self-actualization. You're getting closer to your North Node, your soul's purpose. It's a pivotal month, you know? There's a lot going on. So obviously that's going to cause you those emotional ups and downs, but just ride the wave. And remember, like, feelings are temporary. So whatever you're feeling, it's going to pass. We have card number 48. I do like the guidebook for this one. Sign of action and masculine energy. The sun is shining for you even when you can't see it. The symbol of the material world and masculine energy rises in the sky. This is the sign of a new day, happiness, and opportunity approaching. With the sun in balance, you have control over your emotions and you can act with determination. The plans you've been working on for a long time can now come to light and manifest into tangible projects. This means high energy and motivation to do things. But remember, just as the sun sets every day to give way to night, You must also balance this masculine and active energy with rest and self-care, or you'll drive yourself to exhaustion. Just like the sun sustains life in everything it touches, you can expand your energy to the world around you. Be wise during this time because you might be more in contact with your actions than your feelings, and you could bring about unwanted consequences. I think you do that a bit during March, where you get too in your masculine energy, you put too much pressure on yourself, and then you end up backsliding. But I think by the time we get to the end of March, you've mastered the healthy expression of this energy, because we have the Sun and the Three of Wands coming out together. Because you can be too overly disciplined, too rigid, and then when you slip up, because we're humans and we're fallible, then you can catastrophize that and give up altogether, and lose steam. So remember, rest is productive too. So try to balance out that feminine and masculine energy within yourself. And then that way you can avoid burning out. Infinity of the present moment. Meet Tiger. He consciously drops into the now, softening and expanding with each deep breath. Giving his whole weight to the earth, he is fully supported. He lets go of everything that came before this moment and everything that will come after it. He slowly peers around his space, taking in every sumptuous detail, every color, every moment of beauty. He feels the air on his fur, the boundary between his inner and outer worlds blurring. Closing his eyes, he feels the entire universe pulsing inside of him. In the space between breaths, he touches eternity. I think this is going back to that recommendation to ground, and how you will feel connected to the spiritual, and how it will help you sort of make sense between how your external environment has been impacting your internal world, and how you can fix that where needed, and how you can reclaim your power. We have friends. Meet Fuzzy Heart and her forest friends. They see themselves in each other and adore each other's uniqueness. Each creature feels fully seen and accepted as themselves. They hang lanterns in trees, set out spiced tea, and a plethora of pastries, and indulge in all types of conversations, heartfelt, funny, philosophical, light, and deep. They listen with compassion and speak with truth and kindness. They share adventures. I combined adventures and wondrous. They share adventures in wondrous lands. They cozy together in their homes. They dance and they laugh. They keep each other warm, safe, and always loved. I feel like this is signifying your desire for community, your desire for soul family. And so I do feel like your spiritual team is saying, this is what's coming for you. This is what's on the other side. As you go through these changes, this is what you can look forward to. This is part of your reward. And before I get your Spark Grace matchsticks, I did forget to get your tea leaf fortune cards. I do apologize. Let's get your tea leaf fortune cards. I was about to wrap up the whole reading and I forgot this whole deck. Staff, you will be taken care of in difficult times. Your spiritual team has your back, okay? Just stay the course. Like I said, March is just about getting through it. Even surviving your own emotional and mental state. Muddled, unclear thinking, forest. This makes me think of I can't see the forest for the trees. And it's hard when you're in it. When you're in this energy and you're in your feelings and your mind is muddled and you're still like fresh out of a situation, it's hard to see it for what it is when you're in it. So just sort of accept that. With distance from this, maybe several months from now, you'll have a lot more clarity than you do when you're just trying to get through it. We have bread, period of prosperity and abundance. This is what you're headed towards. With the Sun and the Three of Wands, this is what you're headed towards. Ooh. I'm actually mostly feeling drawn to this Tower card because this one was separate and my eyes directly went to it. This is actually a good Tower though. Solid foundation, success with effort. And it will take effort, like we saw that. This is a lot about cleaning up your own habits, right? Choosing better for yourself. Choosing to see the blessings and opportunities that have been trying to come in. But it's just about a change in attitude, a change in habit, a change in routine. Change starts with you, right? Owl, good advice from a wise person. And this may come in a tarot reading even that you listen to in March. You may get some good advice or advice, from someone in your life. Or you may get a sign from your spiritual team. Four-leaf clover, great good fortune. You haven't felt lucky in a very long time. But I do feel like that's that Four of Cups, right? Like there is a blessing. There is a stroke of good luck. But you're not seeing that opportunity right now. But you will. Younger woman, dealings or relationship with a younger woman. What's this about, Spirit? Maybe different for all of you, but we'll try to see. Hills, obstacles to overcome. So something about this younger woman, she's like affecting your path. There's some sort of lesson here. I wonder if you're a woman watching this, I wonder if this is you having to overcome something to do, like a bad habit you've had even since you were young, or something that caused you pain when you were younger and it negatively affected you, and so it's caused you some trouble. Like, for example, if something happened to you when you were younger, like you were bullied, and that caused you to have low self-esteem or difficulty trusting others, and then that affected you into adulthood, that would be like an obstacle you could be overcoming, something from your past. I do feel like your own mind and your own emotions and your own attitude, it's like you feel like it's your circumstances that are standing in your way, but you're so much bigger than your circumstances. Like you have more power than you realize. And that's that Eight of Swords, right? Like you don't realize you're disempowering yourself. You don't realize how much power you have. It's your mind and your emotions and your attitude that's holding you back now. Your own habits. Because you do have more power than you realize. And all of us have been in the Eight of Swords before, so don't feel bad about it. We have all done this to ourselves. But you have more power than you realize. Beetle, good fortune. Nest, an emotionally secure, loving family is important to you. So maybe this is what you think of when you think of wealth. You think of support. You think of soul family and true friendship and true love and true connection and a happy home and a safe environment and stability. So this is what you're working towards. And you're going to be on the path to finding that. You are. We did get that message too with the Friends card. So I love that for you. Let's see. And I will say too, don't assume you know the outcome of any decision. Because sometimes we tell ourselves, I can't do X, Y, and Z because if I do, then this is going to happen and I don't want that. But do you really know that, or are you just assuming? Or I can't tell them that because they're going to react badly. Do you really know that? Do you really know what would happen if you were truly honest with someone? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But just think about that. Just think about how often you assume you know the outcome of any decision. And I don't mean the immediate outcome, I mean the long-term one. Just sit with that. Because I'm feeling some resistance from some of you. I can see someone poised in the comments, like ready to respond. Just sit with it. Just sit with it. Okay, now we're ready for your Spark Grace Matchsticks. Let's see. Group 3. 3 for my group 3. There we go. Offer love to those who may seem hard to love. This includes yourself. If you think you are hard to love, and I hope you don't feel that way about yourself, but especially if you feel that way about yourself, give of yourself without expecting anything in return. And I honestly feel like this is a deeper message. Oh wow, I'm bleeding. I'm sorry. I don't know how that happened. That's gross. I feel like there's a lesson here because some of you have been giving and giving and giving, expecting other people to give back when they never ever have, and they won't because they choose not to, and you make excuses for that. Or you try to tell yourself it doesn't matter, it's okay. Only give if you can live with someone not giving anything back. Okay? If you want to give from a place where you just want to do something kind for someone else, totally fine. But if you're in a situation where you're giving and giving and giving, and that other person never gives anything back, if you really want to keep giving, you have to make peace with the fact that they're never going to return the favor. And if you can't make peace with that, and if it's hurting you, stop giving. Do one thing today that helps someone else. I do feel like there's a little bit of a pattern here. Almost like asking you to try to find a way to let anyone that's been negatively affecting you go. Because the anger and the resentment and the frustration will only hurt you. They don't care. They don't see anything wrong in what they've done. If they have guilt, they've repressed it and turned it into anger towards you. So if you have to really just buck up and show kindness and say, I'm just going to walk away in peace and leave you where you're at for my own sake, forgive you for my own sake, let it go for my own sake, be kind to you only because that's within my character, not because you deserve it, because I can't walk away, I can't walk around with anger. That's keeping me energetically tied to you. And I would really rather have no association with you. That might just be for one or two of you, but I do feel like there's this sort of repeating theme of showing love and kindness even when you haven't necessarily gotten that back, but being mindful of where you give and how you give and how other people are affecting your mental and emotional state. All right, group 3, I know this was heavy. I know there were so many messages to work through here. Like I said, and I want to stress this so much, you're going to feel amazing and your life is going to be better maybe not perfect, but better, on an upward trend, okay, by the end of March. But there are going to be some ups and downs for you, but just stick it out. The storm is clearing, okay? All right, that concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer, donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading.